This radio show might make you cry, will probably make you angry, will most assuredly make you laugh, and is guaranteed to make you think. 3-6 Nation Radio, where no topic is too hot, no take is too cold, with Monica Livingston and Sean Parker. 3-6 Nation Radio, in 3, 2, 1.
What's going on, everybody?
Good morning, Vietnam! Yes.
We're not in Vietnam, actually. What's going on, Sean?
What's going on, Monica? How you doing?
Man, it's hot.
I know. It's daggone near 100 degrees outside.
It's new hot. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I really worry about you. It's that hot that, well, men really have to worry about during this time. Just saying,
Well,
like,
see, that's why, God has blessed me with a job that I'm indoors. I'm
Right.
in air conditioning
Right.
for a majority of the day. The only time I'm really outside is getting into my truck when I come out of my apartment and getting out of it because
Okay,
I'm in
so
a
you
covered
good
garage,
today.
so
You good
I'm all
today.
right.
This some new heat. I mean, DC, we're in an emergency here, right? We've got cooling stations, and they give
Mm-hmm.
you free water. I saw a dude. I'm assuming that he was homeless, no shirt, carrying a sign. I'm assuming that because I don't know if he would just. I don't know if he had an internship in homelessness or what he was doing, but he did have a sign. He was standing there, and he appeared. He appeared to look homeless, right?
Okay.
But that's not funny. The point is, he was dedicated.
Right.
Bruh was still standing there. This would have been one of those days if I was homeless.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. No, I'd have been inside of McDonald's begging, looking for food, or there. He was standing on his
Right.
corner. He still worked his corner, and I thought, he's got a work ethic that some people at their job don't have.
Well,
So-
I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but I mean, he didn't want to give up his spot
That's
because
true.
unfortunately there are a lot of homeless people out there and they pick their particular
Yep.
spot and he didn't want to lose it.
yeah, that's
So-
just like the food truck people. If
Yes.
you don't get there and pull your truck in, then like it's
See,
over.
you just
so
went to the opposite end of the spectrum. We're talking about homeless people
and then food.
and then food.
What's wrong with me?
I don't know.
I'm hot.
don't-
I mean,
yeah.
you know I'm hot. But I'm saying I'm also a little sweaty today.
Dropping like it's hot. Yeah, it is quite humid.
Yeah.
But, at least it's not as humid as it was last week in the studio.
Oh, okay. So
I
let's
think-
go ahead and
did
address it.
Did we get a fan back or?
Let's go ahead. Yeah, it was really hot, but let's address the elephant in the room. So last
Oh
week,
my goodness!
for those
See,
of
I
you
wasn't
that
gonna say
know-
anything.
well, it was a little sticky situation. So you said hot.
We-
It made me think of it.
We were approximately 7 minutes short on our show
Right.
last week.
Right, and it's with good reason. It was
good
entirely
reason.
Jacob the engineer's fault.
It wasn't a
We
good
had
reason.
nothing at all to do with
Don't
this.
put that on him.
right?
Don't put that on him.
Okay, so this is what happened. I did the first prank call. It went well, and then we were getting ready to go into our make an intern laugh, and my computer died. So
She was so excited she
Right.
forgot to plug in her laptop before the show started.
I go plug it in, and then I don't think that the plug is working. So I hit that little switch, and we shut down the entire station.
She shut it down.
But that's how I do, though, right? I'm either in the building or I'm not in the building.
You
Hey,
big
wait
dumb-
a minute. All right. That was Big Dummy. Okay. So anyway, what's this show going to be about today? We've got Chris Moser from You Can Play.
Yes, we do.
He happens to be a world champion athlete who's really fighting for transgender athletes and their rights to be able to compete and play in various arenas and be accepted, also from the high school level and youth level all the way up to adults. So I'm really excited to have Chris on the show, talk about his struggle and how he's seen, the changes for transgender athletes and really what You Can Play is about and how it's assisting, and it's not only assisting transgender athletes, it's assisting heterosexual athletes in dealing with and just having a cohesion, in the team and in their athletic department. So I'm real excited about Chris. And then you've got
We've got 3-6 Nation News
yeah.
and Sports, our two staples.
and then you've got an interview also that I'm pitching with you with.
That is correct. With Antonio Scott, he is the the general manager of the DC Grays of the Cal Ripken Collegiate Summer League, and so I'm excited to talk to
about
him
I can't even think
about that league. And
anything hotter than baseball outside, like.
That's pretty. No, you know what used to be really hot, and I'm going back in the day for those of us who are old enough to remember the original Busch Stadium in St. Louis. They had AstroTurf. Ooh. And so it would be like 95 degrees in the air.
Right.
And on the field, they would have a thermometer down there, and it would easily hit 130, 140 on the field.
Burning through socks and toes.
That's why Ozzie Smith was doing all them flips, because he was trying to keep them feet off that field.
Oh, Ozzie. Is Ozzie dead?
No, he's still around.
Oh, okay, my bad.
He's still around. Ozzie, we love you. If you're watching the show, call us.
What's up, Oz? I'm
the
just
Wizard
playing
of Oz,
with you, boy.
baby.
You know I know you're alive. Anyway,
you know what? We need to, it would be ripping it off from another show, but that's okay. We need to do a segment one day called Alive or Dead.
Okay.
And just come up with a bunch of celebrities and are they alive or are they dead?
Yeah, sometimes
I'm going to hook that up.
You and I might be on the list. Sometimes I felt dead this morning.
Who knows?
I was up way too late last night.
I
But
might
anyway.
be dead on Monday. I don't know.
So listen, people, get at us, tweet us, Facebook, all the social
At
media
36
outlets.
Nation,
What are
36
they?
Nation.
Yeah.
They're out there.
Right. You know where we are. So we got news and sports, and I'm going to try to do a prank phone call again. It went over well, except for me shutting down the entire radio station. Haven't decided which one yet, but I'm going to go ahead.
If we have time, we'll make the intern laugh.
And we'll do that too. So let's get to our first stuff. We'll be right back after we, our first sponsor is Crystal City Sports Pub. We'll be right back with 36 Nation News.
It's Sean Parker here, and whenever I want some good food in nice-sized portions, not bird-sized food, but big boy portions, I look no further than the Crystal City Sports Pub. Now, if you just stayed on the original first story of the restaurant, you'd be more than happy with the pool tables and the aforementioned good food, but then they went and added a grand second story with, check this out, 6 37-inch LCDs, 2 8-foot projection screen TVs, and a 10-foot projection screen TV, and as a cherry on the top, a state-of-the-art sound booth. They're open 365 days a year, and they are waiting for you. The Crystal City Sports Pub, 529 23rd Street South in Arlington, Virginia. Call them at 703-521-8215 or visit them on the web at ccsportspub.com. It's Sean Parker. 36 Nation News, the DMV's #1 source for the hot topics and current news of the day, with Sean Burgundy and Monica Corningstone.
All right, 36 Nation News.
Every time I hear
What's
that
that?
song,
Uh-huh.
I want it redone every single Thursday, but that's okay.
You want it redone? You don't want the Monica Corningstone on there
I haven't
anymore?
seen that movie, remember?
Okay. Well, yeah, you got to watch it. Anchorman.
Maybe we'll watch it next Thursday, and I'll just sit up here and
Hey.
drink. Okay.
Hey, remember when substitute teachers used to do that? They
Yeah.
would put a movie on and just...
Yeah, in fact, when I was in school, the first job I wanted was a substitute teacher because I thought they don't do anything. Like, they
That ain't what you
come
want
in.
to say.
That's what I was like,
Right.
realized that they were supposed to be doing something, but anyway.
36 Nation News brought to you by the foolishness in Hollywood, and I believe I have the first story.
You do. What you got? What you got? What you got?
Blac Chyna reportedly refused to return jewelry Rob Kardashian bought before the tirade.
No, she did.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. The jeweler. Did I put this in the right order? I think I did. Yes, I did.
It don't matter. They
All
mixed
right.
up anyway.
Yeah.
Read from the back.
The
to
jeweler
the front.
apparently has requested that the gift be returned. Oh, no, there's a page missing. That's what it is. That's okay. But anyway, so the bottom line is Rob Kardashian gave her he sent over $250,000, $250,000 worth of jewelry, approximately 5 pieces of jewelry.
He sent it over.
He sent it over to her and
said,
said he had it sent from the jeweler.
That's rich.
And that is rich.
That's
That is
rich.
very rich. Because trust me, you walking in Decay or you
if I'm
walking
buying
into
it, too,
Jared.
I want them to know it's from me. I'm
Right.
like, hey, babe, look at it. Look what I got you, boo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not to know.
But he sent over 5 pieces, about $250,000, and told her to pick one. Pick one of them.
Oh.
Right? This was a couple of days, like 2 or 3 days before their big blow up.
Okay. Oh, okay.
He's
led to
claiming,
it.
right,
Okay.
he's claiming she didn't return them. He wanted all of it back. He wanted all of it back. The jeweler said that they haven't received any of
Right.
it back. Black China is claiming that it was a gift, so I'm under no legal obligation to return it. She claims that she kept a bracelet and returned the other 4 pieces. The jeweler said, we ain't got nothing back.
Wow.
Okay? So the question is, which one of them is in the wrong? Was Rob wrong for wanting all his stuff back? Or is she wrong for, even if she kept one, like
Right.
he originally said,
Right.
should she have returned all 5 pieces?
I'll tell you where Rob was wrong. Rob was wrong the day he said to Black China, "Boo, come out and eat with me." That's when he was wrong. Okay, right? He could have big dummy, you big dummy,
Big dummy,
That's
yep.
when he was wrong. She should
Okay.
return that man's stuff. She, clearly he probably said pick one. He gave her a smorgasbord of jewelry.
Right.
That's enticing.
that
That's
word.
kind of hot.
That's
You
a
love
good-
smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord. That's a good word. That word is that
Making you
word
moist,
is moist. Okay.
moist. Okay, right. I mean, it's hard not to be today. Everybody's
This is
moist
a
today.
moist day. That's right.
So I think she should give that man back his stuff and should move on. But I don't know. I can't wait to see what else they're going to do. I know it's going to be a mess.
Right.
Whatever it is that they keep doing, because they like this. They like this drama. This is keeping them relevant. I mean, who's really talking about Rob's socks? I mean, raise
Well,
your hand if you got...
It's unclear how much money Kardashian makes from his Arthur George sock line.
Exactly.
But
Unclear.
CelebrityNetWorth.com reports that he's worth $6 million.
Right, because his mama let him borrow that last week.
He also is alleging that he pays the rent on China's Tarzana, California rental
I believe
and paid
that.
for a number of vehicles for her and her mom.
Yeah, I believe that. Her mother's her mother live around here. Let me keep my mouth shut.
don't
Okay,
care.
never mind. Love you, Tokyo.
I ain't scared.
Hey, boo.
I ain't scared.
You sitting by the door.
2722 Georgia Avenue Northwest.
There you go. She ain't gonna be mad at you to be me. Okay. Anyway, let me tell you my story.
Yes, please.
A dude got trapped in an ATM machine. He got trapped in, and this fool's a contractor.
Say what?
You heard me. Trapped inside of a bank ATM, saved after slipping customers a help me note through the receipt slot. Okay. He accidentally locked himself in, realized he had left his phone in the truck. The contractor resorted to posted notes begging ATM customers for help. Please help. I'm stuck in here. I don't have my phone. Please call my boss. This is my boss's number. Numerous ATM users wrote the note off as bizarre practical joke, right? They didn't think anybody was literally stuck inside
Of course.
the machine. You'll never see this in your life. It was just crazy, said one of the officers. Dude was stuck inside the ATM machine for 5 hours before someone finally took it to the bank and said, hey, I think, your contractor is in there. And I just want to know, do you think he should get a portion of what was in the ATM machine since he spent all that time in there? No, he's a big
I
dummy.
think if he didn't-
big dummy.
You just like that drop, don't you?
Big dummy. Yeah. That was in my bizarre and strange. Whoever thought that you would know of somebody that would be stuck in a friggin' ATM machine.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually saw that story today. I almost picked
Yeah,
it.
well, I did, and you know why. So what else you got for me?
Well, I didn't pick the ATM story because I picked this one because this one was equally as absurd. Wimbledon, that legendary tennis tournament over there in Wimbledon, England. Wimbledon's all-white rule, for those of you who don't know, Wimbledon has a rule that all of their players must wear all white.
Right.
And a few years ago, Serena Williams got into a little bit of hot water because she chose to wear a pink sports bra up underneath her white top, and they got on her. Well, the fashion police are out again at the All England Lawn and Tennis Club. Wimbledon's all-white rule forces boys' doubles team to change their black underwear. Zambor Piros and Wu Yibing are 18-year-olds who formed the top seed at the Wimbledon boys doubles tennis tournament. They also apparently are rebels ghoulish enough to wear black underwear to the notoriously all-white affair.
Does it say ghoulish enough?
It says ghoulish, which is ghoul is one of my favorite
Who
words.
wrote this? Boys and color of underwear and ghoulish.
That would be Addie Joseph of MSN Today, MSN USA Today. Yes, Piros and Wu were forced to change their underwear, which were visible not over or under their proper white shorts, but apparently through them. The Wimbledon all-white rule, which is subject of New York Times feature this year, has also reared its head for Venus Williams. Oh, it was Venus. I'm sorry. I said Serena.
Right.
For daring to wear a pink sports bra that's peeked out slightly from her white dress. It's a dated rule that also famously cost Roger Federer his orange-soled shoes. He had white shoes with orange soles, and they made him change it.
Wow.
But this one seems even more ridiculous given the underwear can't actually be seen. I'm sure you can see they were wearing black underpants, the broadcaster says. And it goes on to say, we didn't notice. Should Wimbledon, and I understand tradition, should they get rid of this rule?
Yes, they should. Can people just be people and express themselves however they want to through their clothing, hairstyles, sexuality, whatever? Can they just go ahead and do that? I don't think that it's going to hinder the game. I don't think that it's going to make it a less classy event. I remember Andre Agassi being a refreshing, character when I was coming up watching, tennis. And I think that it's important. When he had hair. Right, when he had a lot of hair, that mullet he was rocking. And I think it's important for people to be able to see themselves in sports and see themselves in different jobs and on TV and movies. And when you see yourself, it helps, our entire society move forward and think that you can achieve. And I have multiple colors of underwear. And so I want to be represented out there.
Do you now?
I want my draws represented at Wimbledon. That's what I want, John.
The United Colors of Draws, for those of you who remember Benetton.
Exactly, Benetton. Oh, man. What's Trump up to today? I'm looking for something to talk about. Wasn't he grabbing somebody today?
I wouldn't be surprised.
He was on a trip somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised. What else is going on in the world today?
I think
was it American League won the All-Star game?
Yeah.
The Emmy nominations came out. I didn't even read it to see who was. I can't remember the last time I was in a movie. I went to see him. An entertainment piece, and this is sad news. The rapper Kid Fresh from Two Live Crew passed away at 53.
53? That's young.
He was the one that when I was growing up, this is a little bit politically incorrect. We always said, the Chinese looking dude. That one.
Okay.
He's biracial, but we didn't know that terminology back when I was a child. Was that Chinese looking dude?
Yeah, well, at least you didn't say Oriental.
Well,
that's really offensive.
Well, that's my father's generation.
Oh, this is Chris. Hey, listen, this show is just a mess. This is what we're going to do. Chris is calling in. He's going to be our community spotlight. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. And then we'll be right back.
If you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
We are all
champions.
We are all
Red Hawks.
Red Hawk
For life.
Our staff, coaches, and student athletes welcome students of all races, religions, genders, sexual orientation, and national origin. We advocate and support the LGBTQ community.
We play.
Together.
We win.
Together.
If you can play,
you can play.
At Montclair State University, if you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
All right, we are back. It is our community spotlight time. I think we have some community spotlight music.
Yes, we do. Here we go.
Fancy. You don't know nothing about this. All right, I've got Chris on the phone from You Can Play. Chris, are you there? Yep, this is how we roll. We'll try that one more time.
Hello, Chris. Are you there?
All right, you're not running You're not running through our system here, Chris. You're on my speakerphone, but hold on. I'm going to take you off, see if we can get you in the studio. And now?
But in the meantime, while we get that set up, You Can Play works to ensure safety and inclusion for all who participate in sports, including LGBT athletes, coaches, and fans. You Can Play believes sports teams should focus on the athlete's skill, work ethic, and competitive spirit, not their sexual orientation and or gender identity.
Yes, exactly. Chris, there now? What is going on with Chris? Do I have the right cord?
Well, we'll try to
Yep.
We'll
it's
try
off
to
speaker.
get
I
that
can see
going.
him. All right, so listen, we have some technical difficulties here. This is what we're going to do.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we jump into 3 6 Nation Sports in a minute, and then we'll see if we can get that back. So here we go. 3
give it
6
1
Nation
minute.
Sports in a minute.
3-6 Nation Sports in a minute.
The second half of the Major League Baseball season kicks off tomorrow night with a full slate of 15 games. The Nationals have a 9.5 game lead in the NL East. The Brewers are 5.5 up in the NL Central, and the Dodgers are 7.5 clear in the NL West. In the AL, the Red Sox enjoy a 3.5 game lead cushion in the East. The Indians are up 2.5, and the Astros are running away with the West, leading by 16.5 games. The numbers are in, and the moves will be costly for the Rams, Chargers, and Raiders. The Rams and Chargers will pay $645 million apiece over 11 years for their move to Los Angeles, and the Raiders' Vegas move will cost $378 million over 10 years. That's a gross sum for the remaining teams of $55 million per team, $27 million in take-home money. And finally, Venus Williams is one win away from becoming the oldest women's Grand Slam champion in the Open era, advancing to the Wimbledon final, 6-1, 6-1 over Magdalena Rybakova. That's 3-6 Nation Sports in a minute. I'm SWP.
Sweet. I love that. You sound like real when you do that.
I am real.
Chris, are you there? All right, so here's the deal. I have no idea why Chris can hear us. All right, we're on speaker now.
See, this is the
I can hear you through my phone, but
behind
we're not
the
going
scenes.
through the,
This is the flavor of radio, because sometimes you get the difficulties and you just have to press forward.
Let's see. We're working on it, Chris. We're working on it. Here's the good news. We don't get kicked off air until 6.
No, we don't. But at the same time, we want to entertain the
I'm-
4 people that do listen.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And Chris is one of them. So Chris might have something else to do. Okay, let me take it off speaker. Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
There we
There
go.
we go. All right. Now everybody can hear you in the studio and our 3 listeners
Ding, ding, ding,
nationwide.
ding, 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 ding.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you,
And
Chris.
You do sound really legit.
Oh.
That was a very official read.
Thank you
That's
very
what's
much.
up. Look at us. So Chris, for those of you listening, is an American transgender advocate, triathlete, and speaker. I was struck by the work that he's been doing with You Can Play, and I think that the mission is extremely important, especially in our high schools and even younger in our boys and girls clubs, to try to make sure that inclusion means just that everyone is included in being able to have an opportunity to play sports, excel, and get all the benefits that come from being an athlete. And when that is saved for any certain sect of people, I think that is damaging to the growth of an entire people, to an entire group of people. And so tell us a little bit, Chris, about yourself, and then let's talk about You Can Play.
Yeah, perfect. So I've always been an athlete since I was very young, but I came back into athletics after high school as an adult athlete. And so I started doing triathlons in 2009. Before that was a little bit of a runner and kind of came into triathlon once I had done a marathon. I transitioned in 2010, so I competed my first year as female and now have been competing as male since 2010. In 2015, I made my first U.S. national team and was the first transgender athlete to make a U.S. national team in the gender with which they identify. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've gone on to be an All-American duathlete and 4-time member of Team USA in duathlon and triathlon. But sport, I think, is really a vehicle for me to spread this message of inclusion and respect, and let other people see me as an out transgender athlete and a queer person, having this successful athletic career so that other people know that they can continue to be their authentic self and play the sports that they love.
Yeah, I mean, and so basically you summed up, if I could just sum up your athletic experience, basically what you're saying is you're a badass. I mean, that's what I heard, right? Like you the man, you make it do what it do, right? That's what you meant to say, right?
I would like to think so. But
Okay,
yeah,
all right,
and
cool.
what I really want to do is be that person that I wish that I had when I was younger. You know, I had athletic role models when I was a kid, and I think that everybody, whether they're athletes or not, has someone in sports that they look to as a role model. Particularly if you do play sports, you know, you look within your own sport and look
Right.
for that one person that you can pick out as a hero. And we know that athletes have such a large platform and this sort of social capital that comes along with being the badass, with being the man, right? And so, you know, I really want to use that to be the person that I wish that I had 10, 15 years ago when I was younger, that I wish I could have seen someone in my position, you know, doing what it does and succeeding, you know.
I'm gonna work with you on that. That was a little rough. I'm gonna work with you on the doing what it does, okay?
doing what I do. And, you know, like, I just wish that I would have had that person to look to, and I really want to do that for other people. And so that's what drives me, in addition to just being a competitive person, to, you know, to really go out there and try my hardest on behalf of our community, and to let all people know that you know, sports should be something that everyone has access to.
That's perfect. You had a question about the organization?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was just because I read a little bit. I read the mission while we were trying to get you on the phone, and just talk to us a little bit about that organization and how it really helps other LGBT and transgender athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I think, like we said, you know, young people learn so much from participating in sports. And so, you know, I think, and beyond that, you know, people who come into athletics as adults even, I think there are just so many good things that come out of participation in sports, whether it's team sports or individual sports. And we believe that all people should have access to that. So if you can play, you can play. It's a really simple message that if you can shoot a ball, you can shoot. If you can score, you can score. And if you're a good player or you have the competitive spirit, we want you on our team. And so it's really encouraging teams to look beyond one's sexual orientation and or a player's gender identity to make sport an inclusive space for all athletes, coaches, and fans. And I think, you know, that's an easy message for people to lean into because of our sort of cultural love of sport.
Right. So let me ask you, Chris, how are you implementing this in? Is it schools? Are you in high schools? Are you in boys and girls clubs? And what's the implementation process look like in terms of, you know, from the beginning to the end in getting this message directly to the athletes that you want to serve?
Yeah, so we do two approaches, and I think the first would be this sort of idea of top-down approach of our partnerships with major professional sports leagues. We have professional athletes who are ambassadors. We have partnerships with almost every major league in North America, including the National Hockey League and their Players Association. We've worked with the NFL, the National Women's Hockey League, Canadian Women's Hockey League, Major League Soccer, and the list goes on and on. And so to have those athletes, for example, most recently, the men's and women's national teams of U.S. Soccer did a You Can Play game, and then they also auctioned off their jerseys and did a big awareness campaign in addition to making a video in support of our message. And so when you have that sort of reach of professional athletes, you know, I think that really sends a very clear message, and it hits a lot of people that wouldn't get this message otherwise. Then the other way that we do that is to go actually into communities and do presentations and workshops and panel discussions at high schools, universities, and colleges, and, you know, local organizations to kind of spread the message as far as we can.
So you're busy. That's what you mean.
we are busy, and we rely on a huge network of volunteers and people who just really believe in this message that sport should be for all people, that inclusion and respect should be a part of sport, and that we need to change the sort of environment of sport and this idea that it's a hyper masculine or homophobic place.
Yeah, you know,
and so
and it's
we really want. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's crazy, Chris, that you even have to have, a mission and to even do this, or that there needs to be programs like this, because sports should just be sport. I mean, I remember when I was playing growing up with my brother, I was better than every single one of his friends, including him. Yes, Reggie, if you're listening, you already know this to be the truth. And so it is what it is. And so you just want to get to a point where people are just looked at as people, and they're looked at, their athletic ability. To date, how many young people or youth groups have you guys reached, with this message to date?
Oh, countless. I mean, we do hundreds of events every year, I'd say, and our reach goes beyond that, with social media being one of our largest platforms. To have athletes like Megan Rapinoe blast out our message yesterday, for example. Right. That sort of reach is huge. And so we can't even say the number of people that we've touched, but we know that we get messages all the time of how important it is for people to see this, to attend a Pride game and go, wow, this is the first time I really felt like I could show up as my full self and enjoy this hockey game or this soccer game, and so those sort of messages are really impactful for us.
According to I'm sorry, go ahead.
We know the work is being done. We know the good stuff is happening.
According to the information that we have here, it says in the United States, 50% of students in grades 6 through 12 who are LGBT reported being harassed or bullied in PE or gym class. In Canada, 64% of LGBT high school students report feeling unsafe at school. 74% of transgender high school students report being verbally harassed, and 34% they're physically harassed and assaulted. We need to get those numbers down.
Yeah.
Bottom line, they all need to be zero. So what can we as society do to help in that regard? How can we help You Can Play?
Well, definitely check out our website, youcanplayproject.org, for more information, and we have some resources on that website. I think the very first thing that when we talk about a topic like this, it seems like such a big issue, right? We're talking about changing the entire culture of sport, and that's kind of a big deal, right? And it's this way because it's been this way for years and years and years, and so it seems like a big job to tackle. But each of us can do our own small part, and I think the first thing that we can do, the very manageable first step, is to take a look at the language that we use.
Okay.
Words are so important. And so if we think about the words that are used in sport when someone is talking trash about another team or an opponent, or if they're talking about someone who's underperforming in sport, a lot of those words are homophobic and they're sexist. Right. And so we need to take a look at the language and the phrases that we use. We can't tell young boys to man up, and we can't say that it's a bad thing to throw like a girl. And we can't use slurs that we know are homophobic or transphobic to talk about players who aren't performing well. So those are very, very simple things that we can do to check our language, that just by not saying those in a locker room or on a field makes it feel like a safer space for all people. So that's the very first thing we can do.
Preach, brother, preach.
Right?
Yes.
I listen. We gotta wrap up with you, but everything you've said is spot on. We're gonna continue to encourage people to go to You Can Play and to get involved if there are local chapters, or to reach out and to donate. This is how you change things. You get involved. You give people that are doing good things the funding to continue to do that. And I know you think you've got some big wig athletes right now. I told you could use me whenever. So, when you're ready to really step it up, Chris, call me, and I'll get y'all, I'll do a little thing for you. Okay.
Thank you so much. It's youcanplayproject.org, online at You Can Play Team on all of the social media, and I'm at the Chris Mosier if people want to hit me up directly. So thank you so much for engaging with me today, and keep it up with the show. I love it.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thanks,
we
Chris.
really appreciate it.
Love what you're doing, brother. Have your people call my people now, okay?
All right.
I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Well, that was our community spotlight there with Chris Mosier. Let's do this.
Yes,
Let's take a break. We're going to look at You Can Play. We have some clips from them. We showed one right before Chris got on the line. And then we're going to show you one here. And then I just saw my man Antonio Scott is in the building. So we're going to do an interview with him to find out about some fantastic baseball that's happening. The word baseball right now with this heat, is just, I couldn't even finish. I said base and then started sweating. So we're going to talk to him about, you see where he is though, right? Oh, yeah. His team is at practice. He said, Monica, I can come in the studio. That's no problem, right? He missing that practice today, but we'll be right back.
It's about respect. Respect for our teammates, respect for our fans, and respect for our game.
It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. On this team, we're a family.
Racist, sexist, and homophobic language have no place on our team.
We pledge to make our locker room a safe place for everyone.
No matter your race, religion, or whether you are straight or gay, if you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
If you can play,
You can play.
If you can play, you can play.
We are all
champions.
We are all
Red Hawks.
Red Hawk
For life.
Our staff, coaches, and student athletes welcome students of all races, religions, genders, sexual orientation, and national origin. We advocate and support the LGBTQ community.
We play.
Together.
We win together.
If you can play,
You can play.
At Montclair State University, if you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
If you can play, you can play.
All right, welcome back. Hey, this is Talking Baseball. Come on, you need to know your baseball music. See? Now,
This thing gets cornier by the week. Like,
that's okay. That's okay. But you know what? Radio is corny. Anyway, the gentleman that I have sitting here to my left is a graduate of the Howard University School of Business in 2001. Got his first organizing position with the nationally renowned, okay, I'm going to stop that, with the nationally renowned People for the American Way Foundation from 2002 to 2004, working on election protection trainings around the country. He was unanimously voted as the first executive director of SMART, which was then named DCBaseball.org in 2005. He brought an innovative initiative and vision to the organization, which led to the creation of the new SMART curriculum and co-founding of the DC Grays Collegiate Baseball Club of the former Clark Griffith Collegiate Baseball League, which is now the new DC Grays of the Cal Ripken Collegiate Summer League. Please welcome to 3-6 Nation, the general manager of the DC Grays Cal Ripken Collegiate Baseball League, Antonio Scott. Antonio, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited that you're here. As I've told people and as I've told Monica, I used to play baseball in high school, 3 years varsity.
Okay.
And we were terrible, but that's okay. That's, that's the way that goes.
And actually, one thing that was left off the bio, while at Howard, I did play baseball as well.
Oh, very cool.
When Howard still had a baseball team, which no longer exists. They have a
We
club.
need to do something
They have a
about
club team,
Right.
I think, but we used to have a Division I
wow.
competitive team
we've
that
gotta
won
do
the
something about that.
MEAC. We was
Really?
the first team to go undefeated in the MEAC back in 1998.
And then disappeared.
And after the 2002 season.
And when
they-
did you?
they cut
When was
the
the last
program.
time you
I
played?
graduated in 01.
So basically,
Okay, so you were on the last team.
So
You
no.
left and they
So there
couldn't
was-
handle it no more.
there
They
was
just
no-
packed up. They said Antonio's gone.
Yeah,
The
it was
hell
like,
with it.
man,
We can't play no more. That's what happened.
Man, after those 4 years, we got to do something else. Man. But no. It was the year after.
Okay.
Me, I had graduated, and they played one more season after that, and then that was the last team that played at Howard.
Okay. Are there any other teams? Are there any other teams in the MEAC still playing baseball?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay.
You got Delaware State, Norfolk State, UMES.
Okay.
A lot of the teams that are in the South Division too. Bethune-Cookman, Florida A&M.
We just got to get Howard to get up off some money
Right.
and reinstate the baseball program.
Hey, that's an uphill battle, but it would be good to see. You know what I mean? It would be good to see
I'll fight it
baseball
with
back.
you.
Hey man.
Even though
Let's
I
go.
graduated from
Let's go.
Maryland, I'll do that.
Hey, but in the meantime, I have the DC Grays.
Absolutely. Let's talk
And-
about
Yeah,
the
let's
DC
talk about the
Grays. And as I mentioned, the DC Grays Cal Ripken Collegiate Baseball Team What is it? How big is it? Who's involved?
So the Grays are one of 10 teams in the Cal Ripken Collegiate Summer League. The Cal Ripken Collegiate Summer League is one of many summer collegiate leagues around the country that recruits college ball players from around the country, more or less, and these are from primarily Division I schools.
Right.
Okay.
You have a lot of Division II schools, some D3 schools, and junior colleges as well that get recruited, get players recruited from, but primarily a lot of your big, D1 schools, mid-major schools get heavily recruited from.
That was my thing, Antonio. So one of our sponsors, the Crystal City Sports Pub, Jimmy, gave me your contact information. I think him and his wife do some kind of sponsorship or something. He was like, this is really good baseball that happens in the summer. They're Division I athletes, and if people want to see good baseball, he just felt like people are missing this opportunity.
And it's free.
Right. And he said that. I'm like,
it's free.
Crazy. Like,
Free. That's the best 4-letter
free
word in the
99.
English language.
friendly family environment right here in D.C. The stadium is nice. Where do you guys play?
We play our home games
Right.
at the Nationals Youth Academy in
And that's
Southeast.
a great facility.
It's beautiful.
I've called games over there.
Now let me throw caution out there. Our home game. I'm sorry, Monica. Our home games are free. There's a few teams in the league that charge admission for their home games, but our home games at the academy are free of charge. Parking's free out there as well because the academy shares the parking lot with the Fort DuPont skating rink.
Sure. I know
So
exactly what it is.
and it's pretty. The skating rink is still pretty active.
Yes.
You know what I mean, so it's the same parking lot. Parking is free. The games are free. It's exciting baseball. It's good baseball. People are missing out.
And I was, I'm looking at the standings now. You got teams in Baltimore, Gaithersburg, Rockville, Alexandria, Bethesda, Herndon, Loudon. So it's all over the area.
I was kind of hoping you wouldn't look at the standings because we're not doing so well.
I didn't mention where you were in the standings.
So just erase everything I said just now. You can erase all of that. But
so you talked about the people on in Division I level, but who is eligible to play? Who could Monica and I try out for the team if we?
Hell no. I mean, sorry. Go ahead.
Technically, yes and no.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. So you have to have at least 1 year left of college eligibility.
Okay.
And yes, according to the rules of the league, you have to be on a college roster.
Gotcha. Okay.
Currently enrolled on a college roster.
Let me see.
So
it's been a minute.
that's why I say technically,
It's been a minute.
If you got 4 years of eligibility left,
use it all.
You just have to. Okay, got it. So we'll leave it there.
I'm good then. I'm still good.
Okay.
So now you just got to get yourself on a roster, enrolled somewhere, and then I'll give you a look. I'll give you a look.
Hey,
I'm all about opportunity. Man.
No, you know what? I'm up in the booth now. My playing days are long gone.
Trust me, I feel you, man. I'd probably pull every muscle below my waist. Running or doing any baseball playing right now.
Because when they say
that's why I'm the GM.
Because when they say hitting the baseball is one of the toughest things you can do in sports, they're not lying.
Oh,
that is so tough.
Yeah.
You're trying to hit a round ball with a round bat.
I mean, and I don't think it's far from like a golf swing's a lot of work too. It's similar, but not exactly the same. But baseball,
the one advantage golf has is the ball is stationary.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right.
Baseball, that thing is
90
moving.
plus miles an hour. You got to deal with that a night in and night out. Think of it as a major league baseball player.
No, you're right, and this is why you didn't hear my story, so I'll just share it with you. Okay. So I played about 2 games of softball.
Okay.
And
fast pitch or slow pitch?
It was fast. It wasn't fast for me, but we were participating in fast pitch.
Gotcha.
But I was not.
It
was too hot out there for me. And I wasn't really very good at it at all, but that's just my experience with softball. And I like suck. I like going to baseball games.
How long ago was this?
Well, let's see, 1980.
I hear 80s.
I mean, day before yesterday. Yesterday.
Okay, all right.
That's what the real answer I was looking for.
Let me ask you, did you grow up playing baseball?
I grew up playing sports. I grew up playing baseball, football, and basketball, but baseball was my first love. My older brother, who also went to Howard and played baseball at Howard before me, I followed in his footsteps more or less. You know what I mean? He was my idol growing up.
Okay.
So I wanted to do everything Big Brother does. So that's how I kind of fell into playing sports in general, but playing baseball was my first love. And then of course my father played baseball, my grandfather played baseball, so it's a kind of a family tradition, if you will.
Okay.
Now it's interesting that you mentioned tradition and talking about baseball because your website mentions the rich history of baseball in Washington dating back to the 19th century. Exactly. But a lot of people in the area they might not know about that history pre-Washington Nationals. Right. So can you give us a little bit of flavor on that?
So there was the Washington Senators for many moons. They played right here where Howard University Hospital was. That's where Griffith Stadium used to be. And also, a lot of people don't know the reason why. To give you the short history of the Grays, when I co-founded the first DC Grays, this is like the second stint of the DC Grays. But the original DC Grays that myself and my buddy and friend Brad Burris co-founded, he was on that last baseball team at Howard that we talked about. We co-founded back in 2006. The original DC Grays that we played in the Clark Griffith Collegiate Summer League, which was at the time the oldest collegiate summer league in the country. We named the team after the Grays because a lot of people didn't know that the old Homestead Grays of the Negro Leagues, who was probably one of the most successful Negro League teams of all time, played in Griffith Stadium. And people don't know that the Homestead Grays, of course, were based more or less in the Pittsburgh area, but for reasons beyond, that we don't need to go into now, they played a lot of their home games here in D.C. And there was a time that they used to sell out Griffith Stadium more than the Washington Senators did.
Because they were better.
We wanted people to know, this rich history that the Grays are attached to D.C. and there's a, right here in the heart of the city.
And that's so important.
And by the way,
and kids don't know this stuff.
And by the way, Barry Bonds does not have the all-time home run record. It's Josh Gibson. Thank you very much.
It is.
Over 800 home runs.
See, what people got to understand is that Barry Bonds' record is the Major League Baseball record. That's what it is, But with Josh Gibson, probably hit like 1,000. He probably hit like over 1,000, man, and that's not exaggerating.
The longest home run in DC, because they credit Mickey Mantle with hitting the longest home run at 555 feet. They said that Josh Gibson hit a home run close to 600 feet.
Yeah.
Whoa,
he was that strong.
That is true. It's not a myth.
It's not a myth. Crazy. So listen, where can people see you guys? When's the next game?
So our next home game is Friday night.
Okay.
We play 7 p.m. at the Nationals Youth Academy. That's 3675 Eli Place Southeast. Again, the games are free. We're also having our final home game Saturday night, 7 p.m. Both games are 7 p.m. start times. Our final home game is Saturday night, and actually that night we're doing a military and veterans appreciation night with the first 100 military personnel and veterans that show up. They're going to get a free camouflage DC Grays hat. It doesn't look like this one. This is like these are our road ones.
Those are hot.
These are our road ones. We have the ones that have our DC logo on it that are our home ones. But that's going to be the camouflage hat for that night. So
I may show up just to get one of those.
Just to get one of those.
Well, since you ain't bring us not a T-shirt, a cozy, or nothing, just came up here today.
I wasn't going to say that.
That's a part of my marketing strategy is to get people out to games. That's the only place we sell merchandise right now. So you got to come to a game and see the product to get the product.
A true GM.
And if for some reason people can't get out to see your games, are your games broadcast? Can they see your games anywhere?
There is a web. If you go to our website, www.dcgrays.com, and that's Grays with an A, because there's two ways to spell Gray.
Right.
Some people spell it with an E, but whatever. Grays with an A.com. On there, there's a link to our Gamecast. And that will give you the link to our, we do have a webcast that we do for our home games.
Awesome.
Most of the road games, you have to go to that team's website that we're playing against, and they're doing their own, webcasted their
Right.
home games as well. So
Wonderful.
And also, in addition to this, we've also started some youth programs
I
in
was just
DC.
going to ask about that.
The DC Grays RBI program. As a matter of fact, next week our 15 and U team and our 18 and U team are going up to Philly to play in the regional tournaments. Shout out to Brad Burris, who's the head of who I mentioned
Right.
helped me co-found the original DC Grays. He's now he's on the board of this DC Grays as well. But him and Paris Inman. Shout out to Paris too. They run our RBI program. So they've done a great job in this past year. We've only been doing it now for a year.
How many
but it's
youth
grown.
are involved?
So we had about 50, a little over 50 try out for the teams.
Okay.
But the teams, we can only select 15 apiece. So that's 30 that are involved. But we try to have some residual programs to help some of those kids that weren't selected for the
Right,
team.
okay.
We do like winter workouts, et cetera. And all of that's free of charge. Like we want to, one of the things with baseball, equipment is
Yes.
expensive and coaching is expensive, and it's a lot of things that's expensive. So a lot of inner city kids can't afford, a lot of
Right.
the things. So we try to provide the quality stuff for them.
So you raising money. Can people donate?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
tell
You
them
can contact us. You can contact myself, Antonio at dcgrays.com. Also, my contact information is on our website, dcgrays.com, just in case you forget. Myself or Michael Barbero, who's our team president, to arrange donating to us. Now, we don't have a specific button on our website where
Right.
you can click
Okay.
donate. But we do, a lot of private donations. Tom Lavero is on our board of directors as well. He does a fundraiser
Great guy.
for us every year. The Cigars and Curveballs fundraiser, which is an extension of his. Well, he started his new podcast off of that. And that Doc Walker comes out.
That's my man, Rick.
Kevin Blackie-Stone has come out before. Shout out to those guys. They've come out and shown us some love. So yeah, we do those types of fundraisers and silent auction type stuff. So yeah, there's
Well,
many ways to get involved.
That is absolutely wonderful. Antonio Scott, DC Grays, man, it is a pleasure
Thank
to
you
meet
for having
you.
me on.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. Anytime.
We really appreciate that. And get out there, dcgrays.com.
Yep.
Get out there and let's support the DC Grays. We are going to come back. We are going to wrap up the show. We think Monica has her final word, and we will get out of here. So we'll take a quick break and come back. 36 Nation Radio.
Here. And whenever I want some good food in nice sized portions, not bird sized food, but big boy portions, I look no further than the Crystal City Sports Pub. Now, if you just stayed on the original first story of the restaurant, you'd be more than happy with the pool tables and the aforementioned good food. But then they went and added a grand second story with, check this out, 6 37-inch LCDs, 2 8-foot projection screen TVs, and a 10-foot projection screen TV, and as a cherry on the top, a state-of-the-art sound booth. They're open 365 days a year, and they are waiting for you. The Crystal City Sports Pub, 529 23rd Street South in Arlington, Virginia. Call them at 703-521-8215 or visit them on the web at ccsportspub.com. It's
back.
So we had our first in-house guest.
That was awesome.
It's exciting. It was a little tight up here, but it was, it was fine.
Well, we did have 4 people up here, but we didn't get to do the intern segment last week.
Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't.
Somebody knocked us off the
we
air.
shut down the whole station. So listen. So because of that, what I'm gonna do? It's Thursday night tea is coming up. Party
Thursday
people.
night tea. See, we didn't get to sing it last week.
Thursday night tea.
Thursday night tea.
So listen, don't turn that dial. They are awesome, and we're trying to just be like them. We're gonna get our little raggedy selves together here. But for 36 Nation Radio, I am Monica D. Livingston,
And I am Sean William Parker, the main event voice. Have a great weekend. We will see you back here next week.
Peace and hair grease.
Parker here. And whenever I want some good food in nice sized portions, not bird sized food, but big boy portions, I look no further than the Crystal City Sports Pub. Now, if you just stayed on the original first story,